This is Umar Ahmed for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. We're in New York. It's the morning after a hectic, crazy, historic night at the Garden. I'm joined by Peter Kahn. Just sum up the emotion and feeling for Team Kambosos at the moment.
I mean, what can I say? I mean, George put on a great performance, went out there, did what he had to do. I think he surprised a lot of people. I think a lot of people were doubting him. I mean, it was a hostile venue. Everybody was chanting for Lopez. It was definitely a hometown crowd. But like George always does, always on the road, always in someone else's backyard, his third split decision victory on the road in a row, beating Mickey Bay in New York 2019, beating Lee Selby just over a year ago in London, and now beating the champion Teofimo Lopez to win all those belts.
An amazing night, of course. Just tell us how you actually came about working with George in the first place. Obviously, you manage him, and kind of the journey that you've took him on to get to this point where he's become unified world champion.
You know, I had the opportunity to meet Jim Kambosos. I was introduced by a matchmaker in Australia during the Jeff Horn and Manny Pacquiao fight week. I believe that was 2017. And he had expressed to Jim that I could be somebody as an established manager in the United States and with a lot of experience, who's worked with many world champions over the last 25 years, could help take George into a new market, into a different level, and really into the level where it all culminated last night. Jim and I hit it off. I'm a father of 3 boys. I understand a father's perspective. I understand what was important to Jim. And we got to know each other. I met George, and quickly thereafter we began working together. And we, they moved out of their comfort zone. They were willing to go on the road. They were willing to take risks and go wherever they had to go. At the same time, George was in camp with Manny Pacquiao. And so what I did was I helped navigate a lot of that. I helped create their promotional relationship with DeBella Entertainment at the time, and then just help them navigate. And 4 years later, a little over 4 years later, here we are.
How many phone calls have you had this morning?
More than I can count, more than I can handle. I've subbed about an hour in the past 24 hours. So after the fight, really, I think I took a nap from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. and then came back downstairs and just kind of been running on adrenaline. But I'm still, every time I put my phone down and I look back at it, it's just like whoosh, messages, missed calls. A lot of people from all around the world have been reaching out to congratulate George.
I'm sure several offers on the table as well about what's next.
Yeah, look, I mean, right now, I don't think it's hard for anyone to kind of anticipate what could be next, right? You're going to hear names like Devin Haney and Jojo Diaz who are fighting each other. You're going to hear Ryan Garcia. You might hear Gervonta Davis. These are all plausible potential fights. I think something that's important to George and something that I promised George and something that his promoter promised him is that he wins these titles, he gets to defend it in Australia. And so, maybe there's going to be one in between. Maybe we go back to Australia and defend against a top 15 contender in Australia and then come back into a big fight.
Do you anticipate a media frenzy for when these guys get back to Australia?
Absolutely. I think George has become a national sports hero in Australia overnight. And not just because he became a world champion. It's because of who he beat and what that meant to the sport and the landscape of that division. They always were talking about the 4 kings, right? It was Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, even Gervonta Davis, right? Never mentioning George Kambosos Jr. Well, now George Kambosos Jr. is, as he likes to say, the emperor, and now they can chase. But that's how quickly things can change. When George beat Lee Selby, when he had become the mandatory, the first thing he said after that fight in that bubble in London when we fought in front of nobody was he's ready to fight Teofimo Lopez. And that's what he wanted to do. He ran at Lopez, right? He didn't take the path of least resistance to win a world title. He ran at the guy that was at the top of the mountain, so to speak, in the division.
We'll have to ask about Senior's comments. I'm talking about Teofimo Lopez Senior. He said that because the fight was on DAZN and we weren't with our normal promoters, Top Rank and ESPN, that's why George got the decision.
You know, look, he's entitled to have his opinions. I'm not concerned with what other people say. I think maybe, look, understandably he's going to be upset that they lost. I have zero doubt in my mind as to the outcome of that fight. The thing that I found to be the most strange part of the scoring is how it could be 114, 113 for Lopez, and how judges could not have given George a 10-8 round for round one when he put Lopez on his ass. Yeah. So, you know, I mean, look, people's emotions run high after fights, and it's emotional, and they say things. I don't think you can't really take what they say right after a fight to heart, because it's the emotion, it's the adrenaline. So, I mean, you know, we all saw what we saw.
Peter, for people who don't know, can you just clarify his promotional situation at the moment?
Sure. George Kambosos Jr. is promoted by DeBella Entertainment, by Lou DeBella.
Yeah, okay. And that is what you guys are looking for going forward as well with Lou?
Yeah, we're talking to Lou, and we work as a team. You know, that's what makes a great relationship, is working together, and Lou's going to come back with some options, and we'll talk about it, and George will basically explain what he wants to do, and, you know, we'll figure it all out. I mean, when you have all these belts and you have all the leverage, it's easier to make deals.
Listen, Peter Kahn, great to get you on IFL TV. Congratulations to Team Kambosos on a phenomenal night at the Garden, and as I said at the start, a historic win. Is there anything you'd like to add before we close off?
No, just thank you to everybody that supported George, that believed in George, even the people that didn't believe in George, that showed respect after the fight with his performance. He'll be in Las Vegas this coming week. He'll be attending the Devin Haney-Jojo Diaz fight. We're looking forward to that, enjoying the moment. And most of all, just excited for what's next for George. I mean, I'm thrilled and just grateful for everybody that has shown the love and support over the last 24 hours.
Listen, enjoy your time in Vegas at the Haney-Diaz fight, and maybe next year see you down under for a massive card that George headlines.
Oh, you can count on it.
Thank you, Peter.